Granblue Fantasy Versus is a new fighter from Arc Systems, the company known for anime fighters like BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, and Dragon Ball FighterZ. Based on a hit anime and RPG out of Japan, Granblue Fantasy Versus brings those characters to life in an incredible-looking 2.5D presentation. But does the game itself have the potential to crack the fighter scene in esports? To find out, we spent a few days with the closed beta version of the game to see just how much potential this title could have. Presentation-wise, Granblue Fantasy Versus has a lot going for it. The art style of the game is a near flawless copy of the anime itself, presented in that gorgeous 2.5D style. Each character also has a unique, easily identifiable style and costume, meaning it's not only easy on the eyes for spectators, but the action itself is easy to follow. The supers in the game, called Skybound arts, are all very visually impressive, and although the combos and special moves aren't quite as intense or flashy as in other anime fighters, there's enough going on at any given time to keep an audience on the edge of their seats. Speaking of special moves and combos, let's talk actual gameplay. Granblue Fantasy Versus is probably the slowest anime fighter we have seen in years. Normally this genre of game is extremely frantic, but Granblue substantially tones down the pace of play with less variety of combos, slower walking speeds, and a much larger emphasis on footsies and the neutral game than huge 50-hit combo sequences. The game is as much about landing counters as it is about getting into your character's bread and butter combos, which makes for a unique experience in the genre. In fact, the game doesn't really play like an anime fighter. It feels more like you're playing Street Fighter V. The moves are very familiar, using many Street Fighter motions that are ingrained in the FGC community at this point. And the emphasis on counters and not on super complex inputs for long combos means the entry barrier for this game is significantly lower than most anime fighters. That isn't to say the game lacks depth, however. Without massive combos, matches have a lot of back and forth, as players battle with pokes or just try to time a perfect counter so they can unleash one of their own specials or Skybound arts. The Skybound arts themselves are the only real gameplay issue at the moment. It appears, at least in the game's beta form, if you use your Skybound art, your opponent can react with their own and beat yours out more often than not. Priority seems to go to the most recent Skybound art, and with a long animation pause as a Skybound art starts up, using one on an opponent who has a full Skybound gauge of their own is a very risky play. But all in all, we found the gameplay and the game balance to be very solid and very similar to games like Street Fighter V or Rising Thunder. The way you find a match, however, is both very anime-inspired and a little bit clunky. You choose a lobby of up to 64 players, in which both you set your avatar character you roam around with, and like in Street Fighter V, the character you actually want to play in the match. Once in the lobby, you move your avatar over to an arcade setup with an empty seat, ready up, and just play whoever is in the seat opposite you. While this is pretty cool in theory and gives you that classic arcade feel, it actually lacks a couple of functions most players have gotten used to, like seeing how good your opponent's connection is before you join. It also adds some downtime to online matches, as you have to go back into this arcade-like setting after every completed match, and it does limit your variety of opponents. No offline versus mode was available to test in the beta, but we were able to briefly get a glimpse at the normal matchmaking mode outside of the lobby system, which actually did have connection bars for players and little to no downtime between matches. All in all, we can't think of a more approachable anime fighter for both players and viewers. While the game will have to overcome the lack of a large American fan base for the Granblue franchise, we think the game's slower pace, amazing visuals, and easy to learn but difficult to master commands will fill a nice niche in the growing esports fighting game scene. A release date for the game is still to be decided, but depending on when this title drops, we wouldn't be surprised to see it get a slot at EVO next year. And that's our look at the Granblue Fantasy Versus closed beta. Let us know if you got the chance to check out the closed beta and what you thought about it in the comments below. And as always, another video is on the way.